Hello, church. I'm Pastor Dan Stark. Glad to have you here. I want to share a little story with you and then give you an update about how things have been going here at Christ Church and kind of what to look for in the future. My son Elliot was playing in the front yard a couple days ago. We've had a lot of rain, and he pointed to the ground and said, Dad, look, a froggy. He was so proud that he had found this little frog in the yard. When I approached the headless, dried out amphibian that Elliot had proudly identified as Froggy, my heart sank. I thought, oh my goodness, no freaking way. How is this even possible? I picked it up, I chucked it out of the yard like it was some kind of animal frisbee. I felt terrible, and here's why. Not only was there a dead animal in the yard and my son had found it, but despite taking all the precautions possible and mowing like a grandpa driving his vehicle on the interstate, it was my fault. I somehow had hit a frog with the lawnmower despite all the precautions I had taken. How could this have happened when I was so careful, I thought to myself. Heartbreaking situation. I don't know if you know this about me, but I really like animals, and I really, really like frogs and toads. I don't know why. Ever since I was a kid, I've just had a soft spot for them. I grieve when I end up hitting one when I'm mowing, because it means that despite my effort to keep them safe, they still got hurt by something I did. Now, church, I love you, warts and all, and I'm not calling you a frog, I'm not calling you an amphibian, even though I think they're pretty cute. I am aware, however, that some of you might feel like a frog or a toad that's been hit by a mower. I say this because our city is still shut down here in Milwaukee, and we aren't able to gather together as a church, and this hurts. No matter how careful I have been in regards to keeping the church going over the past 3 months, and how careful the staff and I have been in making sure that you are taken care of, it still hurts that we're unable to gather together. It hurts being apart, and it hurts being told what we can and cannot do, especially when it comes to our spiritual lives. Sprinkle some political opinions and anxiety into the mix about the economy, and things get even more difficult. It hurts. No matter how delicately the staff and myself and the church leadership have walked the tightrope of the Badger Bounce Back Plan, the federal guidelines for opening up America again, and all the guidance from the Wisconsin Council of Churches, some of you have gotten hurt. And for that, I grieve. Despite our efforts to keep each other safe from the virus and from the spread of disease, some of you have been hurt in the process and by the process. And that breaks my heart. I want you to know, however, that I have been reading almost on the daily detailed pandemic plans related to opening up the church from our denomination and from other denominations and from other faith communities altogether. Communities of faith have been wrestling with how to make sense of the political rhetoric and what's going on at the state and local levels and municipal orders. And all of us have a shared desire to get back together and resume regular practices in our faith communities. Every plan that I have read has been creative, it's been innovative. Most of the plans have something to do with gathering outside or in small groups to begin. But here's the thing. Even the brightest and boldest and biggest imaginations are having trouble overcoming the need to meet some unmerciful benchmarks. And those benchmarks are a sustained decrease in local infections here in Wisconsin, widely available and rapid testing and contact tracing, and on top of that, getting sanitizer and other sanitizing things. All of this stuff are things that need to be met before we can actually resume being in person. And it's kind of tough to come by right now. Even after we meet these benchmarks, we'll have to consider whether Christ Church is ready to come together. Think about our community. We have an older group of folks and we have a lot of little kids. We have a community that may be more at risk than certain segments of the population. Therefore, we have to weigh our tolerance for getting together with safety protocols, with sanitation protocols, and what's going on in our community at the time. And on top of that, folks, some of the things that make church church might not be able to happen for quite some time. Some of our sacraments, doing things like singing, having a praise team or a choir in person, having fellowship time with coffee and food, those things might be off the table for some time until we reach a vaccine. And I'll be honest with you, church without sacraments like communion or having singing or community building, that doesn't have a whole lot of meat on its bones. Doesn't mean it's not church, but it's going to look very different than what we're used to. With this being said, the church council and I, we are in the process of developing a plan about reopening the church sometime in the future. However, for the time being, the responsible course of action is for us to keep on going the course we're going. Staying home, worshiping from home, doing small group stuff from home, making sure that we're keeping each other safe, and that we have a fleshed out plan. It's not about pushing this into the future as far as we possibly can, but we want to make sure that those benchmarks can be met and that we're being safe. We want you to be safe when you're here at church. I realize this is a cautious move that some of you will really be unhappy with, and that it may result in hurt for those of you that want to gather in person as soon as Milwaukee's stay-at-home order is lifted. I don't want you to feel like one of those frogs that got chopped up in my mower. But I also recognize that this is a sad and frustrating experience for everybody. Here's the thing that we can take away that's positive. We have seen how resilient, how creative, how adaptive and strong our little church can be in trying times. And that's a beautiful thing. It may not erase the hurt, but it can show us how resilient we really are. I would ask, friends, that you pray for your church, you pray for its leaders, you pray for one another as we develop plans for reopening. And you remember that reopening is a ways off into the future, and that as a church, we have a lot of moving parts to deal with that go beyond Sunday morning. Just like when I cautiously mow my lawn, it's possible that someone or something might get hurt in the process. However, we will do our best to ensure that we do the most good and that we keep as many people safe as possible when we do open up for public activities in the future. So my prayer for you, church, is that you stay healthy, you stay strong, and you stay resilient. God bless you, be at peace, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.